I am wanting to speak today about more on this Confederate flag, not so much about the shooting as we know that happened in South Carolina a few days ago, where the um, young man went in and assassinated 9 black people. Um, Now, the issue has been, in my opinion, they're trying to divert a lot of attention from the victims, from what actually happened, and from the issue of racism in this country to a flag. Well, he used the flag, and so, we need to attack the flag. Um, and, not really getting to the heart of the matter, in my opinion, which is the racism of America, the racism of white Americans, mostly toward black people. We can call black people racist all we want. We can ignore the issue of race all we want. But we know that black people didn't create race. We didn't create classes. We didn't create any of this. This stuff was established upon the inception of this country. Um, I really think that this issue with the Confederate flag is another way that uh, the powers that be are using to deflect once more and again on tackling an issue of race in this country and putting it on an inanimate object, a symbol. Yeah, it was used for that. I mean, I see old 1970 something Ford trucks with American flags on it, and I think that's racist. I mean, it's symbolism. There's a lot of things. You can look at an old redneck in a trailer park and think racism. So um, there's a bigger issue that needs to be tackled that, in my opinion, can never really be tackled or fixed, because the inception of this country was racism, the bringing over of the slaves, the whole everything that is done, the rich, the poor, the black, the white, the social classes, you know, uh, the way that the rich separate themselves from everyone else, the education system. I mean, it's so ingrained in American society that you can't say, well, it's because of the flag. No, you have to get to the bottom of the situation, which is people. The flag didn't do anything. The flag was put there by people. The flag was sewn together by someone. It was used by someone, a group of people, and yes, it's gotten that reputation, but the bottom line to the whole thing is Americans and their attitudes, white Americans and their attitudes, not just toward black people, toward everybody. Well, everybody mostly who isn't white. Um, and even some of them, because the elite don't like trailer trash. They don't like ones who live in trailer parks or whatever. They don't, some suburban white people don't like rednecks. So I mean, it's just, in my opinion, too big of an issue to go and put it on a flag and say this is the issue. It's not. If they bring down that flag, which I kind of seriously doubt, but if they bring down that flag, it's still not going to fix racism in America. I mean, so what's the use? You're, once again, like I say, you're deflecting. And I don't I don't believe that there is an answer to the race problem in America, because, like I said, it's been since the inception. I mean, black people were brought over here to be subservient to white people for the sake of them getting rich, for the sake, I mean, And we know how that goes. We know the history of that. We know the history of what they have done over in South Africa, and in all over Africa, different parts of Africa. So, I mean, it's an attitude. It's a people. It's a history, and I just cannot sit here and I pray that most of us will see the deflection um, from dealing with the real issue and putting it on, in this case, this flag. I mean, the whole history of a lot of what goes on in America is a lot of deflecting, a lot of changing names, a lot of changing locations, a lot of renaming things, when if you get back down to the real source of the matter, and if you get down to the heart of what it really is, you'll realize that it's the same thing. They've just changed the name, or they call this now, or whatever, when it's all still the same old thing. And so it's the same tactics that I see of them deflecting from racism to a flag, you know. Um, and just real briefly, one of the things that really gets me is we so often hear people, they always tell black people, oh, well, don't act like them. Oh, will you be a better person? Oh, will you show the love of God? And, yeah, they're racist, but, you be a bigger person or whatever. And the thing that gets me is that no one ever chastises white people, Europeans, or whoever you want to call them that, are racist, because they love also to say, well, that's not all of us, but you still benefit off of what your ancestors and the elite and whoever your people do. You still benefit off of that. So it doesn't matter whether it's not you. I mean, you can't look at someone and say, oh, that's one of them. But you all do it to us all the time. So, you get grouped and you get labeled. But, no one ever chastises them on being mean and hateful and ugly and arrogant and insincere and just ugly to people. No one ever tells them to fix their attitude. But black people are always supposed to be calm, just do it quietly, as long as you protest peacefully, as long as you don't do this. You can't go over here, but you can go over here, and and it's just like we are always the ones who get told to calm down, simmer down, when we are usually 95% of the time not the ones who have started an altercation or started something. Or you have this group of people who love to pick on everybody else, but then when the people, or when they're afraid that someone's going to retaliate, then all of a sudden you get the law enforcement, you get the laws, and and oh, well, let's just calm down. Then they bring out all the other black people who they think that we listen to, that will tell us that violence isn't the way, but the violence has been enacted on you first. And it's crazy and it's hypocritical, and I'm praying for the soon day that it stops. I mean, because it's ridiculous. It's like a bully in a playground that is just going around picking purposely on people, and then when someone's ready to retaliate them, oh, well, don't hit me, don't hurt me, well, I really didn't do it, I really didn't mean it, but it happens all the time, and then it scales up and it goes up and it gets worse. But yet and still, don't do anything about it. Let us continue. Let me continue to hurt you, to bully you, to whatever, and just let me do it. So, I mean, this problem is just too big. It's a structural problem. It's like trying to fix fix a house that's been blown over by a tornado and completely wrecked and just completely damaged beyond repair, but yet you're trying to start working on a roof. You can't work on the roof. You have to start from the ground and start working at the foundation. And that is the issue. That's why race relations and the bottom line to race will never be fixed in this country, because first of all, white people won't admit to it, and if they do admit to it, they're going to throw 15 million reasons as to why, or as some type of a justification, instead of just, yeah, it's us. Yeah, we did it, and I'm not saying black people are innocent. To be very, very honest, I really don't think that we could have been victimized and done the way that we have been done all these years and centuries without the help of other black people. I really don't. So I'm not putting all the blame on white people. They have a lot of help. Just as today, when things are done, they call out all the Christian ministers and, Christian so-called leaders, because that has always been what they've done on the plantation. They used the Christian preachers that they had trained and set up, or they'll use a slave that they trust and have gotten into the good graces of the master or whatever. And I know the name for that, but I cannot. I'm just gonna call them the house Negro, because I can't think of the name of it. But yet and still, they were the snitch. They were the ones who went back and told Massa anything, any kind of rebellions, any kind of anything going on with the slaves or whatever. They would kind of sneak around, make the black people think that we're still your friend, we're still down with you, but yet what you're doing, they would go and tell. They would go and report. They would tell the massa how black people act. Well, this is what you need to do, and kind of just like the same thing. The guy in Django, the movie Django, the Samuel L. Jackson, when he played that part. I mean, he was thick as thieves with Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't think of his name in the movie, but anyway, he was thick as thieves with him. And he was a straight sellout to his people. And you have those today. Usually they're the ones with money. Usually they are the entertainers. Usually they are the ones who are appointed to these top positions in society. The judges, the lawyers, or whatever. They work for the man. They work for white establishment. And so, yeah, when something happens, they're the ones that they go and bring out to calm down everybody else, and it's not like we're dumb and stupid. We know who they are, but what can you really do? We don't really have much power or voice, until we can get someone with some credibility, with some power, that can do something to help us. Is going to stay the same, because they're always going to sell us out, because they're happy with their homes, they're happy with their cars, they're happy with their the nice school that their children get to attend, and their 4 or 5 nice white friends who they go over and have dinner and parties and all this kind of stuff, and they don't want to give that up. Screw the rest of y'all, I got my nice life. This is what I'm going to do. Get the rest of y'all. So, they've had help. They've had help all throughout the centuries. They've had help. Even going, videos about the end. I can't get into it. I may make a whole video about it later. But even back in Africa, we know we had, kings and so forth that, sided with them and sold us out to slavery. We know all that. But that's a whole nother issue, and the topic is too big and too wide to be handled in 15 minutes. It's too big and too wide to be handled, really, period, until some realization and some truth comes to light. So anyway, that's my time. We'll speak again.